An Indian American middle school student who was bullied by a white student to the point where he was actually choked by the white student received a lengthier suspension than his bully. This took place in Texas, and if you think the story's bad enough, it actually is about to get worse. So in a viral video that's been circulating online, the Indian American student, his name is Shaan Pritmani, is seen being assaulted and choked by a fellow white student in the cafeteria of Coppell Middle School in Texas. So the video that you're about to watch shows exactly that. Let's take a look at that, and then I'll fill in all the details of what happened afterwards.
Hold on. I'm not getting off. Okay. Literally nobody's sitting here. 4K Ultra HD. Get the Oh, there we go. Here we go. Here we go.
So turns out that Shaan's parents were contacted. Shaan is the Indian American kid that you see in the video. They were contacted by the school and informed that their son had been involved in an altercation with another student. The school allegedly found Shaan to be at fault. He received a 3-day in-school suspension as punishment, while the aggressor only received 1 day. In fact, a user on Facebook claiming to have spoken to Shaan's mother said that the victim and bully were placed in the same room in school suspension for 2 days in a row, basically.
Yeah.
And the bully, by the way, the bully allegedly said that he felt no regret for what he did, which is, I mean, incredibly mind-blowing. Is it mind-blowing? And it turns out that the white student has a well-connected father, and that might have played a role in the school's decision to dole out a stricter punishment for the victim in this case.
Yeah, so the dad even ran for the school board. He didn't win, but he apparently had a lot of contacts, and he apparently contacted them, etc. So there's a lot of news coming out about this story in Texas. And that side is now starting to smear the South Asian kid, okay? And they're saying, oh, he said mean things to the kid earlier. Now, okay, his side is saying that's not remotely true. They're doing like now like weirdo negative campaigning against this poor kid, right? But guys, let's just assume for a second that it is true. And assume you're the administrator. I'll do likewise, okay? They come to my office. The video obviously exists. It's on social media. You can see it on Twitter, right? Mm-hmm. It's about your school. This has gotten unbelievable attention. So they all know the video, right? And you bring it to me and you say, oh, no, it's okay. The Indian kid said mean things about the white kid. So would any of you say, oh, then that's okay?
Yeah, choke him out. Who cares?
Yeah, go ahead and choke him and attack him, etc. And what he said to hurt your feelings, he gets 3 days suspension and you only get 1 day for physically assaulting him. Even if it were true, there's no way that makes sense and is justified. Look, the thing that remains is it's Texas and they don't care about minorities. And they think, oh, connected white kid, yeah, of course we're not gonna punish him. We'll punish the guy that he attacked. So prove me wrong, prove me wrong. But as usual, no, they attacked a minority on top, insult to injury.
Yeah, and look, race could definitely play a role, but I think the father being connected plays a bigger role here, and we'll get to the details on how he contacted them and stuff as well.
But by the way, oftentimes that's also racial, and what I mean by that is, white people in this country have already accumulated power.
Right.
So especially for immigrants, when they come into the country, they don't know anyone. They barely, and so it takes them a long time, generations to build up connections, networking, etc. And by the way, that's part of the reason why they do affirmative action, because when black people were first freed, they had no connections. How the hell were they ever gonna get a job? And all the way through the civil rights era, etc., the firemen kept hiring their sons. The longshoremen kept hiring their sons. And not out of bad intent, but everybody in power was already white, right? Mm-hmm. So that's why, even if it's just, hey, the dad is connected and the kid who's attacked, his parents aren't connected, that because of the nature of America is de facto also racial.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. Now, when his parents, meaning the victim's parents in this case, requested a reassessment using the viral video as evidence, the school said that there will be no changes made. So the video, apparently, the evidence was not in any way persuasive for them. The school resource officer refused to file a citation because the school administration allegedly asked that the incident not be documented, as there have already been many bullying complaints.
See,
what?
Yeah.
We're not going to document this because there's already too much documentation in regard to this student and his bullying. So we want to protect him by not documenting more. Like, what was that?
So look, nothing in this story is justifiable. So in this case, first of all, you got a bullying epidemic in your school apparently. So you're like, it's happening so much. We don't want to document it further because it could cause us problems. How about you fix it?
Right.
And the way you fix it is not by doing a slap on the wrist to the bullies and attacking their victims. Gee, I wonder why you have a bullying epidemic in your school when you react that way. But even if you say, hey, you know what, maybe it's not the connected data, and maybe it has nothing to do with race. They're just worried about the bullying, getting a reputation for bullying, and they're just trying to brush it under the carpet. But even if that were true, why give the kid who was bullied 3 times as much punishment? That doesn't make any sense at all.
It's insult to injury, right?
Yeah.
It's bad enough to not punish the bully. It's even worse to do a slap on the wrist for the bully while punishing the victim even worse. And let's get to the bully's father. So his name is Sam Wellington, as this tweet describes. Sam Wellington, father of child, ran on Coppell ISD Board of Trustees. His kid got 1 day suspension while the victim got 3. Wellington, no offense to all the Wellingtons out there, but Wellington is like the perfect last name for this situation.
I know. I almost can't say the name Wellington without saying, I do declare.
I do declare.
Okay. So, but guys, look, overall, I almost hate that there's a racial component to this story. But there's an old boys club, right? And it really does exist in places. And so in this case, they just naturally are inclined to, I know that guy, and so I'm gonna help his kid, but hurting the other kid on top. I mean, even if you just gave the bully a 1 day suspension and didn't suspend the kid who was the victim, probably none of this is a national news story, right? But the gratuitous, smearing of the victim is what makes it unbearable. And unfortunately, it happens far too often. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.